Today I'm going to teach you a little bit more about how to make our website that we started in Visual Studio Code look amazing. So yesterday we visited CSS Zen Garden. You downloaded the HTML file. We opened up Visual Studio Code and we started adding CSS to start to add some color and add a little bit of style to our web page. Why don't you take a moment and open those up, and if you've forgotten how, let me show you. Okay, I'm going to open up my folder for CSS Zen Garden, and I'm going to double click only because I've set mine default to Chrome. If your default's not Chrome, just control click. I guess I'll control click too. Open with and choose Chrome. Cool. So here's what I did yesterday. It doesn't look quite as nice as some of these examples, but we can continue adding some changes to make them look better and better and better. Okay, back to what I've done so far. And now I need to open up Visual Studio Code. So I'll just do this. I'll come back to this folder, control click, open with Visual Studio Code. If there's any comments about it opening from the internet, just agree, and you can't update the software, so just press cancel. Alright, so here's what I did yesterday. You added a little bit more than I did. Looks like I'd never finished my A tag. I'll just put color is, I don't know, yellow for now. Always end with a semicolon. I hope that you see by now how CSS is supposed to look. With CSS, you don't put any of these brackets. You only do that for the style tag. Everything inside the style tag is actually CSS. There's no brackets, it's all curly brackets, and every line inside ends with a semicolon. Okay, so I just made a simple change. I'm going to press save and refresh, and since I just did it, these should turn yellow. Let's see if that worked. Whoa, I don't really like that it's yellow. It doesn't look really good with the page, but we'll keep it there for now. So as I said before, it's a far cry from how awesome these websites look. Some do crazy things like the steel one, and honestly, I am in awe of how to do this. I did see some of you try to find the code, how they did this. It's actually encrypted, it's actually hidden, so they wanted to keep that a secret. I am super curious. I think that they might have added JavaScript to the CSS. But that's a really cool one. Let's see, Apothecary. I'm looking for a certain one. Why can't I find it? I guess it's the first one. If you can go open this same page, if you click on CSS and Garden here, and just go here. So today I'm going to teach you how to use someone else's code to learn from. Before I do that though, I want to put this Spider-Man on my screen. You might wonder, why are you putting Spider-Man to your screen? Well, Spider-Man has an excellent quote. And his quote is, "With great power comes great responsibility." So I'm going to teach you how to copy someone's code so that you can put it in your own page. By the way, does that sound like plagiarizing? Yes, it actually is. Now, if you just do it to learn from privately, it's not plagiarizing because you're not trying to turn it in to your teacher and say that you coded it. You're also not putting it up on the web where it can be found and you can be caught and you'll be actually sued because you stole someone's code. Can you get in trouble for stealing code? Absolutely. Here, I have so many things open. Source code plagiarism is defined as copying and reproducing source code without written permission from the original creator. That includes adapting the code minimally, moderately, or including fragments of the original author's code in your own code. Now, if you ask permission, that's okay. If you take tiny bits of it and you give a source, well, that's okay. But what I'm going to teach you right now is just for educational purposes. It doesn't mean that it's correct to do it and turn it into Ms. Milton, like that you coded it. I will just ask you to code it again in front of me. And if you can't do it again, then I will know that you don't have the knowledge. So I am going to teach you how to do some cool stuff today, but I do expect that you use this power well, because with great power comes great responsibility. And we're just doing it for learning purposes. Okay, so we're going to use this person's project. I'm not sure who created this one, but this will just be the first one that we do, and then you can check out maybe others and see what you could do. So this is pretty cool. I mean, it looks honestly better than mine. They've done a lot more to their page, which looks pretty sweet. And I already checked, their CSS code is not encrypted, so we can actually do this. As you know, to look at someone's code, you go to View, Developer, View Source. And once you do that, you're not going to see anything that's different from your code. Like, this is all the same HTML. Remember, the HTML doesn't change. It's the CSS that they did. And if you look up here in the head where you put the style, they don't have a style tab. I told you yesterday that the style tab is not actually what web developers use. They use something called a style page. It's actually called a style sheet. So if you look through here, even though you might not know what everything means. You might know what title means. But if you look here, there it says style sheet in one of them. That's where we can go look at the CSS code that they wrote. So go ahead and click this. Okay, and there's a lot of comments here. Here's the person that made it, by Andrew Lohman. So he commented out by putting /*, and this way it gives credit to the author. And they did this a lot. All of this is comments. It is copyrighted, by the way. Creative Commons, well, that's nice. So that means you are allowed to use it and to edit it, but you have to give credit back to the author. So we're doing this completely legally as long as we give credit back. Okay, so with that, knowing that we are doing this legally, we're going to move on. And we're just doing it for educational purposes, so it's fine today. So if you just take a second and take a look at it, you can pause this video. All curly brackets, always ends in a semicolon. A lot of things that we haven't learned. So HTML is actually easier to learn. It's the CSS that takes a while. And you're not going to be quizzed on knowing all of these things. We've only learned some, like how to change the color. But as you do it more and more, you learn it on your own. All right, so that's enough. We checked it out. Now let's go ahead and use the code. If you press Command A, it will copy the code. Okay, so now I'm just gonna bring this down. And yesterday we started styling, but you know what? Let's just delete the style. That was just an example. Keep the style tags. You're gonna learn soon how to create a style sheet, but right now we're just gonna put everything in the style tag because that's what we know how to do. And as you see, I deleted my content inside it. I'm just gonna press Command V. Oh, I accidentally pressed the wrong button. Command C. Command V. Wow, I want to see how many lines of code I did. Whoa, I didn't really do it, but 1,143 or 1,143 lines of code. Could you imagine writing all of that? Okay, so here, what's in green are the comments. So I do make sure you keep this because we used Andrew Lohman's code. He needs to be attributed. We're just using this as an example. So I know you're curious. Some of you have probably already done it. Let's go ahead and click Save and bring up our page and refresh. And whoa. Wow, look what Ms. Milton coded. Look what you coded. Now that's going to be slightly different. So now I'm curious. I'm going to split my screen and put this to the side. There's just going to be a few things that you're going to notice are different. Do you see what's different? Yeah, they're just the images aren't appearing because that has to be coded also, and we haven't coded those also. We'll explain that later, but yeah, everything besides the images, if something is colored, it's going to put that in. Texts are going to be like the same, but the only thing that we don't see, I wonder what this is, HTML, CSS, is that over here? That might be different too. No, it's there. Maybe it's not there. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, it's there. So it's slightly different. We don't see some images, but other than images, I do have the basic website design. So what this teaches you, again, with great power comes great responsibility. Please follow that with Spider-Man. I have taught you just how to like copy code, put it in your work. Please note that this, if you were to use this as a project and turn in someone else's work, that would be plagiarizing. Also, you could, if you do this on the web, actually, I can't find what I'm looking for, but if you do this on the web, you can actually get a notice telling you to take down your web page, and if you decline, then there's actually a lawsuit for breaking copyright. So make sure that you use this to practice, you use this to learn. You can go into a code as you learn more and more and figure out how they did things. Learn from it, take ideas, but never ever just copy someone's code and make it as your own. So for the rest of the period, you're welcome to try other sites, to look for their code, to put in yours, to play around, to have some fun, making your page look amazing. This is just practice. We'll actually be turning something in next week that we created on our own from Visual Studio Code. Over and out.